Bet no one expected me to talk about this game again. Yeah, we're back here talking about Mario Kart Tour again, and not for the reason I thought I was going to either. So there's actually multiple different things I do want to talk about with Mario Kart Tour in terms of its presence in the Mario Kart franchise and also the future for what Mario Kart Tour has in store for us. Now, as you may know, Mario Kart World is coming out very soon, and there has been a lot of gameplay, a lot of music reveals, a lot of character stuff. There's just been a ton of things being revealed through Nintendo and, just leak stuff in general. We did get an official interview the other day, which does go in depth onto Mario Kart World's development, and it really is interesting to say the least. So essentially, World was being made all the way back in 2017, and it was originally going to be coming out for the Switch 1. But due to the development team, they wanted to go and create something much larger that not even the Switch 1 could really handle. So they started to just push that game off to the side and wait until the next console was coming out, which would have been much more expansive and much more graphic heavy, so it could handle more stuff like that. Now, they also did mention that World was originally going to be called Mario Kart 9, but due to that and also 8 Deluxe's success, I guess they decided, hey, let's push off. Let's let the dream of this game get pushed off to the next console and do what we want on that one instead. Now, the statement that people are most intrigued on from this was the original idea that World was going to be called Mario Kart 9. So this has made many fans speculate that World was going to be Mario Kart 9, which yes, it was officially revealed. But also, people are debating on whether or not Tour is even counted as 9 anymore, and people are mostly going with the decision, which of course they would, is that Mario Kart Tour is not Mario Kart 9. Technically, that would be if we lived in the timeline that World came out on the Switch 1. Even if it was called World, it probably would have been still the 9th installment in the series because it was obviously clearly being developed earlier on than Tour. Tour was announced early 2018, so they clearly had plans of World before Tour. And yes, I know, I'm a big defender of Tour being Mario Kart 9. And I'm trying to justify the reason that yes, it is still technically Mario Kart 9, even though it's not really seen as much with how this interview has kind of pointed things out. Because yes, like I said, the development was that World was going to be called 9, but clearly that didn't actually happen. That's why it's called World now, because they wanted to push it off and make it a much bigger game. So due to that fact, they want to get something else out there in the meantime. And there were ideas that 8 Deluxe could have gotten DLC, but they didn't really have any intentions on giving 8 Deluxe any DLC due to the fact that World was going to come back around that time. So Tour ended up happening, so the BCP basically happened just to cash in a little bit more money on 8 Deluxe before World came out, and kind of just to distract fans a little bit before officially announcing Mario Kart World. What I'm basically trying to get out here is, yes, Tour is still considered 9 in my book, and even if it's not, it's still a mainline Mario Kart, even though the term mainline Mario Kart is already stupid enough as in itself, because Mario Kart is a spin-off series in general, so technically any Mario Kart could be classified as a mainline Mario Kart, but in terms of, returning tracks and stuff, so far we've only seen Tour tracks come back in terms of from a spin-off Mario Kart. I really hope arcade tracks are going to be planned at some point in the future for Mario Kart because there's some really damn good tracks in there. I think they're more than worthy of a new remake. People can blabber on to me that Tour is not Mario Kart 9, and I can respect it. I'll respect it this time because it's really looking like that they just really wanted to throw Tour out of the bus here. But in my book, I'm going to still keep calling Tour Mario Kart 9, and I do think that it's considered a mainline Mario Kart. Because, like I said, the reality of World not coming out before Tour makes me think that Tour is still considered 9, even if it was just a distraction for a little bit before World was announced. It's the whole situation in general. It's just really confusing to me, and I'm sorry if I'm misinterpreting any of it, but this is just my personal thoughts. And I know that they said World was 9, but it didn't actually end up being 9. I'm trying to make a little bit more sense out of this, and I still really want to defend Tour because Mario Kart Tour is one of my favorite Mario Kart games, and I'm kind of just tired of seeing the trash and hate being put onto it. Yes, the game kind of sucked when it was first released. Get over it. Have you guys even checked out the game lately? Yes, I know it's basically in this loop mode now, but there's a lot of good content in the game. And it's the reason why the Booster Course Pass was even conceived of, too, in some sort of ways now. I mean, that whole situation is just a different discussion in general, but Tour still did a lot for this community, especially giving us the opportunity to play as Kamek, which apparently wasn't even planned to be a character at all. It was always planned to be a item, because the NPCs influenced Kamek as an item, which is why he's like that in World. So y'all gotta respect Tor for giving us that, at least, and giving us the opportunity to play as Kamek in 8 Deluxe. Now, one thing I do want to say to cap off this little segment of the video is the idea of what happened with Sky High Sundae. Now, what I'm trying to get out here is, if World was already being conceived of before then, was Sky High Sundae always considered to be a World exclusive new track? Now let's think about it for a second, because yes, the track was clearly developed more for World and it actually looks pretty good. Was 8 Deluxe and Tour's version more of just a step down just for Tour to, like, you know, kind of be able to play the track, and 8 Deluxe to just get the simple port of it over? It's a weird situation with this one, really, because Sky High Sundae could have always been a World, you know, a Mario Kart World track, and they just downgraded it heavily when it comes to Tour and the Booster Course Pass. And the release of Sky High Sundae was always such a weird one to me when they announced it back in Wave 2. It's kind of like similar to Squeaky Clean Sprint, but with Sky High Sundae, it just felt really weird, because it was like, yeah, it's coming to Mario Kart Tour 2, but we announced it for Wave 2. It's a really interesting conversation to have. I want to see what you guys think of this whole Sky High Sundae situation. I see not many people talking about this part, but like, it's very interesting to me, because was it going to be considered a World exclusive track, or is it actually going to be considered a retro track for the game? Kind of like the same situation with like Tour. Is Tour actually Mario Kart 9, or are they just not going to consider that now? Clearly the plans changed throughout development of this game that caused Sky High Sundae to look like a new track for 8 Deluxe and Tour, even if it was meant for World originally. And the same thing goes with Mario Kart World's name. It was going to be called Mario Kart 9, but development decided to change it up, and it's Mario Kart World. So Mario Kart Tour came out between that time. Is that still considered Mario Kart 9? It's a very weird, extensive topic, and I'm very interested on what you guys think in the comments. Now, moving on from that, we do have to talk about some interesting news we just recently got from Mario Kart Tour. So the most well-known data miner from the Mario Kart Tour community, known as Koopa V, released a video the other day talking about the future of Mario Kart Tour. Now, Koopa V always loves to make the community think of what could be coming to this game when it was receiving new content. Now, when he released this video, he basically made it look like it was going to be the shutdown of the game. However, that wasn't the case. What he had revealed is something may be happening on June 11th, which is usually where the Mario vs. Luigi Tour happens. Now, what will be happening, you may ask? Well, it's possible that Tour may be receiving new content. Tour receiving new content in the big 2025. That is just so what? I'm just honestly very confused that they basically just treated Tour like crap the past 2 years with not doing anything for it, and then just like, hey, let's go and give you guys random new content again. Now, of course, this is pure speculation based off of data mines. This could be just all a minor inconvenience with stuff, but it's kind of leading towards it, because we have had info from Koopa V stating that something was going to happen after the Princess Tour. Whether it was a big announcement or if it was new content, we really didn't know, but it's kind of leaning over towards new content. Now, what's the new content, you may be asking? It's possible that we could be seeing a new driver. I know that's crazy to think. A new driver and 4 brand new karts. No gliders. Take note of that, because I've got a theory on that. So it looks like Nintendo probably is going down the Mario Run route, where they kind of just didn't do anything for Mario Run until recent games came out and they kind of did little events for them. What do you think I'm pointing at with this? It's obvious that Nintendo is planning something with World and Tour collaboration. Given the fact that there is no gliders leaked at the moment, it's very possible that Nintendo is going to do a collab with World just to, you know, advertise it or whatever to people who probably can't buy it because it's so expensive. But just give the idea thrown out like, hey, a new Mario Kart's out. Here's some of the new content you could see. So there's 1 new driver, 4 new karts, no gliders, and as you may know, World does not have any unique gliders, so I could definitely see this being a World collaboration. Now, something Koopa V did mention is the driver could be a character that was planned all the way near the beginning of Mario Kart Tour's life cycle, so this could be very interesting. Now, what kind of character could it be? Could it be like, you know, the cow from Mario Kart World, which honestly might be the most obvious option ever, considering that Nintendo has been really advertising that cow for World a lot. So they could be like, hey, here's a cow character. There's always been that idea of there being a scrapped common character, so maybe it might be the cow. We might be getting like our first common character in I don't know how long, like 4 or 5 years. It's kind of crazy. So I'm 100% going with cow as the option for the driver because it just feels like something Nintendo would do. But it's not entirely impossible that it could just be an alt. It could be something like that new King Boo alt. There's been a little bit of talk that a King Boo alt could have been scrapped years ago from Tour, but there's not enough info suggesting that it could have been a thing or not. There's also the idea that the driver could be one of those touring alts, which most characters do have in World, which would make sense because, you know, it's called touring and it's Mario Kart Tour. Now, as for karts, I think that they're probably going to go with one of the more unique ones that they have in World. You know, the one that the cow drives with the little moo truck or whatever. It's more than likely going to be one of the more unique karts that were added to World, so like I said, this may not even happen, and this may not even be a collaboration with World, but given how close it is, it more than likely probably is. My question to the development team on this is just, why now? Why give Tour new content now? I'm not complaining about new content, obviously, but like, with World being out, with Tour being kind of just forgotten by most people now, it's just really strange. But hey, they did this on Mario Run, and Mario Kart Tour's life cycle has never made any sense, as you all may know. And this also brings in another interesting topic, is if something does actually happen during the Mario vs. Luigi Tour, is it still going to be the Mario vs. Luigi Tour, or is it going to be an entirely new inspired tour? It's just possible that they could just be adding the content in just for the Mario vs. Luigi Tour and just keeps everything else the same as it always has been. But if it is the case that they're adding different stuff into the tour, like different tracks or whatever from, you know, just reoccurring tracks from the game, that means that Mario Raceway might be considered lost media, and that's kind of crazy that a whole entire track might be considered that, unless if they decide to keep it into the tour still anyways. But, you know, it's just kind of a little thing to think about, like, if something actually does get changed with Mario vs. Luigi and they just forget Mario Raceway, that's going to be the most craziest thing I've ever seen with Tour. There is also the possible chance that it might not even just only be the new driver and 4 new karts. There could be other stuff too, it's just not been revealed yet, but take that with a grain of salt. It's more than likely not going to be the case, and we're pretty much lucky enough to even get any more content in the big 2025. So I am kind of a little excited to see what they might do, and it's kind of weird to think about. I might even be doing another tour reaction, quotation marks, for another new tour, which, speaking of which, that takes place during my birthday, so coincidence? I think not. Very interesting choice, Nintendo, that you would choose the one during my birthday and not, you know, the Princess Tour. But yeah, that's basically all my thoughts just jambled into this video. I didn't really want to make a script for it because it's kind of more just a little discussion, but mostly because it's just a bunch of thoughts because I'm so conflicted on the whole situation. It's so weird to think Tour's getting more content. Tour may not be considered 9. There's so much weird news of Tour this week. I don't know what the heck happened. And also, I just need to take a second to just appreciate y'all because we made it to 5,000 subscribers. That is just really just insane. Like, y'all blew my mind. To think that even 100 subscribers was a lot, in my opinion. To now getting to 500, to getting to 1,000, and now we're here at 5,000? Like, how does that even happen? It's kind of crazy y'all watch my stupid crap. But seriously though, thank you all so much for the love and support this channel has gotten the past few years. It's been kind of rocky this past year with new content and whatnot, but I'm glad you all are even staying to this day with my crazy shenanigans. But yeah guys, we're 2 weeks away from World's release, and that is just insane. Who knew we were going to get a new Mario Kart this soon? Trust me, a lot of new videos are going to be coming out, and I'm definitely going to be doing some gameplay videos with my brother. Genuinely, Mario Wonder was my favorite series I ever did on this channel, and I did it along with him. It was kind of not as much of a popular series, but man oh man, it was just so much fun and so much laughter, and I was just like, I loved editing through those. I cannot wait for World's release. I cannot wait for the Switch 2, and I can't wait to see what Tour has cooked up on that day, if anything happens. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out, stay safe, and goodbye.